Okay, going on to the Board of Selectmen review of the ADA grievance from Alan Gunzburg and Steph Cowie, who are here, and Assistant Town Attorney Amina Ahmed. Is Amina still here? Oh, she's not here.
Where are you? I'll just put it here. That's okay. First Selectman Camillo, Selectwoman Rabin, and Selectperson Stone McGuigan. Good morning. I'm Steph Cowie. Alan Gunzberg and I are here today because we filed an ADA complaint regarding the cessation of the municipal improvement at Arch and Brigg Streets. The municipal improvement included necessary safety upgrades and modifications to the sidewalks, curb cuts, and accessible parking stalls to bring them up to the ADA code. But after almost a year of time spent in committees, planning, zoning meetings, and public comment, the RTM voted to stop this project from moving forward. Their unfortunate decision was a $2.7 million loss of a grant to do this work, and now the town will need to fund this project completely. Because of that decision, as concerned longtime residents of Greenwich, we filed our complaint. We requested that the ADA upgrades be designed and implemented quickly as possible at Arch and Brigg Streets. In our complaint, we also requested that the Town of Greenwich shares the DPW ADA transition plan on the Town of Greenwich website. In response to our complaint, the DPW ADA transition plan was shared with us, as well as the timeline on design and remediation at Arch and Brigg Streets will be at 12 to 24 months. Unfortunately, waiting 2 more years is far too long for the necessary and federal legal obligations by the Town of Greenwich to be met. We ask for what is reasonable remediation in less than 12 months. The town's DPW transition plan, which should be available to every resident on the town's website, was written 30 years after it was required by the law. It is now 33 years after the passage of the ADA, and at the pace the transition plan has for remediation, the Town of Greenwich will not be compliant with the federal law even 50 years after the law's passage. And we are only discussing DPW's risk. How long will it take our Parks and Recreation Department to be compliant, our school buildings? We will soon find out as these departments develop their ADA transition plans, now nearly 33 years later. One of major concerns of non-compliant of the ADA Title II is risk of penalties and lawsuits by individuals in the federal government. Therefore, we would like to see more money being set aside each and every year for ADA compliance. This should be a line item specific to every department. We would like people to think of our streets, our parks, our town facilities are open to all, that they are inclusive, like our town pool, Boundless Playground, and Cardinal Stadium. Finally, we have had a First Selectman Advisory Committee for people with disabilities for over 10 years. This is an ad hoc committee. We have no budget, we have no power, and we serve at the pleasure of the First Selectman. There are other towns in Fairfield County that have decided that the disabled residents within their town need more support. We believe there's an absolute need in the Town of Greenwich for a commission on people with disabilities, similar to our neighbors in Westport and Ridgefield. We thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Alan, do you want to say anything?
No, you know, ADA rights are civil rights, and my civil rights have been obliterated by a vote. And when you look at this, we all paid, everybody in this room who's a resident paid for this DPW transition plan. And the fact that it's not on the website it is criminal. We need to have an ADA transition plan for every single department. That's what the law said 33 years ago. You know, we didn't have, when I came here over 10 years ago with a small committee, before we built the FSA, the Selectmen's Committee, we had somebody come down from Hartford to meet with us, and he couldn't toilet in the bathroom downstairs because it wasn't accessible. We didn't have an accessible bathroom in this town hall until about 10 years ago. This is, how do you say this to citizens in this town or residents in this town who live here, who have parents here, who have children here, who have disabilities? We don't care. We don't care. That's what we're saying. We've disregarded everything, and we don't care. So this is just, you know, these upgrades on the avenue, you know, the safety upgrades are gone. So maybe it might not be safe enough. And while we're talking about parking, there were 10 more parking spaces in that program too.
Accessible parking space.
Right, some were accessible, some were not.
Some
And
weren't.
even then, there were 10 more spaces.
that were
They're
being
gone.
created.
Well, you know how I feel about that
I
vote.
do
So,
know.
and unfortunately, that the nearly $3 million now is being taken by other municipalities, and now we're going to have to pay for it. So,
Right.
it's
But we should fix what we decided was not ADA compliant.
Yeah.
Those are, those are the federal regulations. And, you know, I know recently we've seen that Parks and Recs have decided to work with the Department of Justice about our marinas.
marinas.
And it's not just the marinas. You know that too. Go watch them put somebody on the ferry in a wheelchair. Go watch them do that. And
It's
see if your
frightening.
heart stays inside you. I showed you the video.
It's brutal.
This is, we don't care, is what we're saying. We just don't care.
And I saw the 12 to 24 month period. So, I will reach out. I know Jim's away right now, but I will reach out to him and see how we could speed that up.
And we do want to state, we have completely, we are talking as personal, as citizens, right? This is not the first selectman's complaint, advisory committee for people with disabilities. But we do want to say, we've had tremendous relationships with the Town of Greenwich and DPW. They've done nothing but try to make it right, and we thank them for their partnership, because we do really believe that, and we thank all of you as well. We know this isn't just your decision, we are a volunteer organization in this town of government, and we see it at its best, and sometimes we don't see it at its best. So we do appreciate it.
Well said. Thank you. Appreciate all that you do.
But I want to go back to the idea of why we we decided that we didn't want to put this ADA transition plan on our website. Do you
Sure.
know why they told me they didn't want to put it? Risk. There's a risk. And there's a risk in not being compliant. There's a big risk in not being compliant. And so if the risk of people seeing this 150-page document and understanding how much is wrong, how much does not comply, how much doesn't reach that low level of, oh, we're compliant. It turns my stomach, and we're hiding it. But if anybody wants it, you can call me. I can email it to you.
Okay. Well, I will talk with Amy today.
It's not Amy. It's the law department. It's not Amy that doesn't want to have
No,
that
I
on
mean,
the website.
No, I'm saying, but as far as the 12 to 24 month period, we may have to do something else as far as, you know, the budget's done for this year, but we'll have some conversations, and certainly I think your idea about maybe looking at an overall, you know, we're making a lot of progress, and thanks to our departments, but we're not there yet. And so I think maybe a more comprehensive view of all the departments, and maybe that's something we can sit down in the coming weeks and months and figure out just more of a thorough blueprint for the town. Because I know with everything we're doing now, we're playing catch up
Right.
from years and years of not.
Yeah.
Of non.
Yeah.
Right.
Non-compliance,
So,
right.
but-
It's not, we understand it is
Yeah.
a big,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is very helpful, and your advocacy is huge. So thank you,
Yes, we appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
thank you as always. I'm gonna